Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Porter's Product Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Porter, and today we're talking about one of the most exciting and rapidly evolving areas in product marketing, and that's using AI to supercharge everything you do from strategy to execution. Our guest today is someone who's been at the forefront of tech innovation, having worked at doing marketing at Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Databricks. He was recognized as a top 100 global marketer by the Product Marketing Alliance and conducts workshops and lectures for marketers to get more proficient with AI. Please welcome Abhishek. Great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me, Josh. I'm just really excited to deep dive into AI and how it's reshaping marketing today. Excited
Absolutely.
about today's chat.
Well, we're very happy to learn from you today. So, the first piece here, I just really want to start with the big picture. How do you incorporate AI into your overall product marketing strategy? And what use cases do you feel like have been most effective so far?
Yeah. So, Josh, let me start with a little prelude. My tryst with AI started before ChatGPT. I had my ChatGPT moment in 2019 when I saw GPT-2 for the first time. And I was just blown away that a machine could write in the style of Shakespeare. Personally, I felt like this would shift the way we do marketing forever. And what's interesting is at the time I was at Facebook and I was working with data scientists at Facebook as they built models to analyze customer insights. Now that would seem laughable by today's standards, by compared to what today's models can do. But back then, it just blew my mind that you could have a machine extract insights from thousands of hours of customer calls. And I integrated some of those insights into my campaigns and saw lifts of almost 30% in engagement rates. So I was an early believer and adopter of AI. And of course, with ChatGPT, life changed completely. So I've been seeing this and kind of being at the forefront of this seismic shift in marketing and content creation. To me, I'm just fascinated by AI and I've found value in every aspect of product marketing, from
Yeah.
doing competitive research to crafting core positioning to pricing strategies to creating distribution ready content. There are multiple tools that really excite me, like Perplexity AI. I'm just so blown away by the way it synthesizes information, how it's completely transformed the way I've approached competitive analysis and research. I've also heavily used AI for all my content creation work and the entire cycle of content, from planning to drafting to feedback to polishing and more. And especially when we work at leaner startup, like you're familiar with this, we have such compressed timelines, such difficult
Yeah.
timelines to deal with content production. And AI has completely transformed the game for us. Like what would be weeks or months of effort can be done in days now, which is phenomenal. So I'm always looking at different tools, and there's so many emergent tools, new capabilities that come out. When I think about tools like Notebook LM, it's really impressive, like how you could feed a fairly dry, boring paper into Notebook LM and can create this fascinating, engaging podcast out of the blue. So I just think like we're in the early stages of a very exciting transformation that AI is bringing into product marketing. The capabilities of these models and what we can accomplish with them evolves almost daily. And so staying at the forefront of these changes to me is both a personal priority, but then also a professional necessity at this point.
Absolutely. And I'll just have to say plus one to Perplexity and Notebook LM. Outside of GPT, those are probably my two most used other AI
Yeah.
products. I mean, Perplexity is so great for research. It's just amazing what it gathers in terms of real time information and citations and organizes it in a really understandable way. And then Notebook LM is like your own personal RAG. You just
Yeah.
feed it information to the for your internal documents or even YouTube videos. You can engage with a PDF from a white paper from a competitor and ask questions about it. It's awesome. And so I 100% agree. And then you can make it into a podcast that makes it even easier to digest.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's incredible.
yeah, it's great. It's great. Well, I appreciate that overview. So now, in what ways do AI-driven insights shape your understanding of customers, and how does that influence your messaging and positioning?
It's a great question, Josh. At its core, effective messaging and positioning is built on comprehensive research. What I like to think of as a 360-degree view. That means having sound analysis and insights into in market messages, the most important trends and shifts in the industry for your category, understanding user feedback, and being able to even capture that authentic user feedback and synthesize insights from that. It's not just about gathering data, though, it's also about being focused on the right elements and sometimes
Mhm.
finding the right insights about those categories, those personas, those competitors, and audience feedback. It can make all the difference between analysis and insights that truly shape impactful, incredible positioning and messaging, or research that's just by the way. So AI has been transformative in this process. Like hands down, I can't imagine life without AI for building, capturing customer insight. I like to think of my approach as a hybrid intelligence gathering approach where
Mhm.
I combine manual curation, of course, helped by AI, and then purely AI assisted research. And by bringing these two together, it's completely and dramatically changed like how quickly and deeply I can understand the market. Again, you and I talked about Perplexity. I
Yeah.
use Perplexity, Google's experimental search, and Microsoft Copilot. And by using these tools, and now, of course, ChatGPT has web browsing enabled too, by using all these tools, what used to be weeks of research can be done now in hours. You mentioned Notebook LM, a great way to, I think, like you said, do RAG and feed all these information sources and then extract insights. At the same time, it's not as simple as simply pointing AI at something and asking it to
Mhm.
go. There's a lot of care, like a lot of care and attention has to be paid to curating the right kind of information, making sure that the information we are using is valid, is of high quality. At the same time, what's interesting is these tools are getting smarter every day. Right? Back a year ago, finding the right sources or research articles was still tough. I would still have to do a lot of manual research to append articles and insights into what Perplexity would give me. But now the search models are evolving, their search capabilities are evolving, and I'm seeing that out of the box, these tools understand intent a lot better and are coming up with more high quality insights. So the first part of, like I said, in positioning and messaging is zeroing in on the right insights. And the
Mhm.
next part is synthesizing that meaningfully into frameworks. And so that's also very interesting because I extensively use these AI models as my thought partners. I use
Yeah.
Claude, GPT-4. Synthesizing insights from that research has become so much easier. Like building a messaging framework was and still is. It's a very complex endeavor. It requires a lot of trade-offs and thinking, but that thinking and trade-offs, those have become a lot easier, or have become a lot faster thanks to the awesome powers of these LLMs to extract insights from all of that research. So yeah, what I found helpful is I actually use a best of approach where when I'm building out my messaging frameworks from all this research, I'd feed the same research, have like detailed prompts, and then have different models come back to me with their answers. And it's always fascinating to see what Claude would find versus what Gemini would find versus what GPT would
Mhm.
find, and then
Right.
take a best of those and then append that with my own insight to come up with really crisp and sharp messaging frameworks and positioning. So my key takeaway or learning is AI is really not a replacement for human judgment. It's a tool, it's an amplifier. The need for creativity, the need for nuance and strategic thinking is actually greater now than ever because anyone can create something that's very generic and flat. But it really requires us to be more discerning and careful to hone in and get the most value out of these tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you say that it's not replacing. You do this kind of like hybrid approach where obviously you have to bring your own experience and thoughts into play, but this augments your capabilities by reducing research time and being able to react to some of your thoughts in a way that maybe a human would as well. And so, except you don't have to find someone who just happens to be available. You can just always ask it, what do you think about this idea or that idea? So, absolutely great,
Yeah,
great tip. So,
yeah.
as this is an emerging technology, there are obviously going to be some hurdles. So, what obstacles have you faced when implementing these AI tools in your marketing workflow, and how do you overcome those?
Yeah. Josh, so I'll go back to that Spider-Man quote. With
Mhm.
great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And for sure, with AI, the challenges have shifted. What I've noticed is something very interesting. I feel like my challenges have shifted almost 180 degrees. Before AI, we product marketers, and you'd be familiar with this, we were like detectives with tiny magnifying glasses trying
Yep.
to piece together insights from limited data and really chasing that insight. It was weeks of effort, pulling insights from a sales stakeholder or a product stakeholder and like going through queries after queries, hours after hours of Google search to find insights. And just to figure out what customers are thinking, it was so much harder. But now it's really like drinking from a fire hose of information. The
Yep.
challenge isn't so much around the processes to get insights anymore. It's about figuring out what to do with the overwhelming amount of data that AI is throwing at us, but then also like the overwhelming pace at which content is being created, right? And the speed with which we can generate content. What's also interesting or challenging is stakeholders are even more guarded with their time now. I think they just expect that you can throw that in ChatGPT and come up with something pretty quickly. They just expect
Yep.
AI is a magic bullet for solving all marketing problems. So it has shifted how I approach my role for sure. Like while I have newfound powers to, create more powerful, insightful research and to bring the voice of the customer to the table, I also am now spending more time and thought in creating like really meaningful stakeholder interactions. Now, instead of spending hours debating basic market insights, it's about how do I get them to quickly align into deeper conversations about complex messaging or audience strategies. It's just like as per AI's promise, right? We're operating at a higher level now. We're not doing the
Yep.
basic stuff. So that's helped. And then there are also other challenges like with content production. Again, once again, the market's absolutely flooded with AI generated content. But then that creates its own set of headaches. Like we are gone from being creators, just creatives, to being traffic policemen in a way, right? Like there's
Right.
hallucinations are a real headache. Like I've learned the hard way to fact check everything twice. And there's a growing challenge of robotic content fatigue. People are getting really good at spotting AI generated content and they're tired of the mechanical soulless tone. So you can smell that from a mile away. So how do we use AI, but skillfully use AI to still be human and authentic and create content that's truly engaging? That's continues to be a challenge. And finally, like I think going from being accurate to being helpful and trustworthy, all of those things, like now it's hallucinations and inaccuracies are not just inconvenience, they're actually pretty catastrophic. If you've been following the news and how bad AI experiences have led brands to lose millions of dollars,
Yeah.
and so it erodes brand credibility as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think like the biggest challenge is around earning trust, ensuring that the quality and the authenticity of our outcomes are still intact. Generally, managing, just kind of getting used to the greater velocity of doing everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's interesting because yeah, it can speed up the process, but with hallucinations or just wrong citations, yeah, it can definitely mess you up in terms of what you're sharing and with your insights with your stakeholders. And so having to double check that is important because you don't want to share the wrong information and just kind of be caught flat-footed with that. Even though it was super easy to get the information, you do have to verify it. And so also, yeah, you're right, brands have lost millions of dollars because of inaccurate responses by AI. So that's also important, and that's why looking at what the guardrails are and those types of things are those are key. So well, that's super helpful. Good insight onto how you overcome some of those hurdles with this new emerging tech. So, next question is, now that you are understanding and overcoming some of those hurdles, how do you see AI evolving in the product marketing space? And what do you think product marketers should do to prepare for those changes?
Yeah, that's a great question, Josh. So I really think we are at this incredible tipping point in product marketing. The latest AI models like GPT-4o and DeepSeek are doing things that would have seemed like science fiction just a year ago.
Hmm.
They're not just processing information, they're reasoning through complex marketing challenges, whether it's developing positioning strategies or planning entire product launches. And we're also seeing this whole rise of agents and automation. With the rise of agents and automation, these AI systems are becoming more like autonomous teammates. I've
Hmm.
been experimenting with setting up automated market research, and I'm starting to find ways to automate that and integrate that directly into Slack or email so that I can automate the whole synthesis of insight and distribution. And it just blows my mind, like the speed at which that happens, the efficiency that comes in. So we're living in a brave new world, I'd say, when it comes to like there's no need to pull all nighters anymore. Like you can have polished, actionable reports and insights in seconds or minutes.
Yep.
I'm also seeing the cost and time for creating. I think the cost and time for creating marketing assets will continue to plummet,
Mm,
and the curve points that way. What's also interesting is people are also wisening up. I don't know if you saw this interesting chart from Amazon last year, which showed that the number of Kindle ebooks was like 4x higher in 2024 than at any previous year at any point in history earlier. So it's just with
mm,
AI, there's a lot more content and more content fatigue, and people are smarting up to that as well. Like right now, I would still say that awareness of AI-enabled search is at its infancy, but people who are folks like you and I, like who've been using Perplexity or search or enhanced search from Google, don't go wading through blue links anymore. We are
right.
expecting instant answers. So that's changing. This shift in consumption patterns of content is also fascinating. People are having actual conversations with AI to discover products and solutions. We're moving away from like this whole library catalog like system to having a knowledgeable guide who knows exactly what you're looking for. So we need to think about how our products and content show up in these AI driven conversations. It's not just SEO anymore, it's like AI SEO and making sure that our messages can get picked up by these AI search engines when someone is chatting with an AI about their problems. So, as we work along, I think the future to me, and it's not even sci-fi anymore, is starting to see companies who are creating autonomous marketers. Well,
Yeah.
to show up in Zoom calls and to work alongside. And I don't think it's far-fetched to think of us, human marketers working alongside AI co-workers. I've actually been involved in some early advisory conversations with a few CEOs who are building AI-enabled marketing assistants who can actually sit on Zoom calls, take notes. They have virtual personas. Similarly, folks who are working on AI-enabled support and customer support and agents. So I just think like that overlap's coming sooner than we think.
Yeah.
So we are literally writing the playbook for the future of marketing right now. And we can't just afford to sit and watch from the sidelines. We need to be in there, experimenting, learning, sometimes failing, but always staying curious about what's possible. I think the one thing that I've learned over the last 2 years or 3 years of working extensively with AI tools is you have to stay curious to stay ahead. Because in
Yeah.
this field, the moment you think you've got it all figured out, is the moment when you're probably falling behind.
Yeah, yeah, and that is so true. That's a good philosophy, especially in our line of work. It's yes, you if you're not humble enough to be thinking, all right, there's something else I need to know or something else I need to figure out, then yeah, that is the moment when you're starting to fall behind because there's other people doing it. AI is doing it, right? And so it's philosophy that I think is important for probably most jobs, but particularly with product marketing. So I like that a lot. Well, this is great. This has been awesome to kind of really do some deep dive questions into what tools you're working with, how you feel like you've what the challenges is in terms of adoption, and where that you think they're going in the future. So now, as per usual, I like to do short, rapid fire questions to kind of get your take on that, just to kind of compare and contrast with other product marketers that I've interviewed with. And so, the first one's going to be obviously pretty easy since we've already talked a lot about this. But first off, Abhishek, what's your favorite marketing tool?
I have to say Perplexity Pro. It really
Yeah,
is my favorite marketing tool right now. Yeah.
yeah, Perplexity Pro for sure. I'm with
Yeah.
you on that one. Okay. Second question. What do you think is the most underrated skill in product marketing?
It's being analytical. I really think like we tend to come from strong creative backgrounds, but then being more analytical and being data driven and having very strong judgment. I think that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to understand data and use it as a way of reasoning for your actions and plans. So absolutely. A third question. What's the biggest mistake to avoid in product marketing?
I mean, I've been saying this and I'll say it again. Like, if you're not using AI, you're falling behind. So, underutilizing AI is, I think, closing yourself off to the idea because of some people's bad experiences is actually detrimental to your own growth.
Totally. So it's not about making mistakes or doing something that's wrong. It's about omission, like not doing a thing that can help you grow in
Yes,
comparison to what other
100%.
people are probably doing.
100%. Yes.
So very good advice. What's one thing you wished you knew when you started in product marketing?
I wish I had more insight into just how incredibly dependent we are as product marketers on our stakeholders and on our peers for success. And I think the people skills and the soft skills make or break your success. This is even more true with AI. Like while we have more velocity and more speed, we still rely very strongly on our team holder and our stakeholders to build out our success. So I think people skills can make or break your personal success.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important to be able to work with other cross-functional teams, particularly product marketing, because you are kind of the hub when it comes to product and sales, and then you have to work with a lot of other teams, with even just within the greater marketing org. So you're trying to create that hub and spoke model so that you're representing and understanding each of those stakeholders, and then ultimately portraying that to the end customer. So um, last question. What's your favorite podcast?
All right. I think I love Lenny's podcast. I think at the rate you're going, Boda's podcast might be my favorite podcast.
Yes, definitely educational, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I definitely have enjoyed listening to your answers. You've got some great insights. Abhishek, really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your expertise on using AI in product marketing. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Josh. This has been great. Yeah. Take care.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Porter's Product Marketing Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with your network. We'll be back soon with more insights on how to help you excel in your product marketing journey. Until next time, keep innovating and keep driving impact.